Hey Morgan,
Hey, Alexis.
how's it going?
It's going good. It's been a pretty good week so far. I've just been getting a lot of things situated because Rain and I are going on our first vacation this weekend. So that's going to be really fun, making sure Izzy is all situated. And yeah, just kind of waiting patiently for a vacation. What about you?
It has been an interesting one. My therapist broke up with me, which is very, very sad, especially since the last week's episode I was just saying I was getting back into it after I missed a session. Um,
Yeah.
Basically, I got an email from her saying that she is going to be leaving the clinic and that she is going to be working on transitioning her current clients over to new counselors, and was like, "Do you want to spend your last week with me?" So it's
Wow. Sudden.
very sudden. I feel like like when I first found out, I like called my boyfriend about it and I was just crying because I'm like I she is probably the first therapist in like 15 years that I have been willing to talk to, and she is
Mhm.
the first one that I have openly spoken to about some trauma that like no one knows about, like no professional at least knew about. And
Yeah.
so I'm already like dreading the idea of having to relive and re-explain all of those things so that the next therapist understands me. But therapy has been beneficial for me, so I don't know, I may take a break for a week or two just so I can figure out if it's something I obviously I still want to do it, but I'm in shock right now. Like it's like I had no say and I really enjoyed this person and it just
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah.
And it's also like, I personally would be a little bit nervous and definitely vulnerable to have to re go through all of that, you know? It's kind of like after going on so many dates, like once you break up with somebody that you've built all of this like connection and trust with, and then having to go on a date and they ask you, what's your favorite color? Like having to go through all those things all over
Man.
again and on a more like serious level because these are things that aren't like the most pleasant things that have happened in your life. So I understand, taking a break just to kind of process everything and give yourself time.
Right. And it's funny that you bring up that whole like talking stage thing. What's your favorite color? Because I hate that. I told myself I am not like so I basically with my new relationship, I didn't plan on oh, we're gonna get into this later, but I didn't plan on ending up in a relationship this year. And when I started talking to my current boyfriend, I was like, you know what? If this doesn't work out, I am not doing another talking stage for a while. So I already hate that type of talking stage, and now I gotta do it with a therapist. So
Right.
not excited for that, but anyways, what's your little moment for the week?
So it's kind of a funny story. I went to lunch with a couple of friends over here and we were having a really good time and we were just talking and just kind of talking about how we're trying to make like extra money because job demand here is very tight and not the best options. And my friend was talking about how she decided to apply to be a substitute teacher. And I'm like, oh, no way, me too. And she said, oh my gosh, how was your interview? And I was like, what? What interview? So it was so awkward because I could tell that she was really trying to make me feel better. She was like, "Oh no, I applied in March and it took a couple months to get an interview. So that's probably what's happening with you because I applied in May." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, it's probably what's happening." And I was trying to really hide like my little like bummed out feelings, but I was happy that she got an interview, obviously. Um, but yeah, that was just like a little bit awkward. And then I had went home and I wanted to email the um person who reached out to me after I submitted my application. I wanted to update my phone number because I had gotten a new phone number. And so I did that, sent the email, and I got an automated response letting me know that they no longer work for like the job industry anymore, like helping people like recruitment industry, and to reach out to HR. And I'm like, I don't know where HR's number is. So I was just talking to my dad about it, and he was like, his whole thing was it wasn't God's plan or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I guess not. And then today I'm packing for the trip and just like getting some stuff situated. And I sat down and checked my email and I kind of like scrolled down a little bit and I noticed that they did email me on the 28th and that they did want to interview me and that they would be reaching out in the next couple of days. And I felt so silly. I was so bummed yesterday. And so today I called my dad back and I was like, I guess God changed his mind because I have an interview or I might have an interview.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I hope you get it.
I hope so too. I think it would be a really good job to have here while in Europe because I don't want anything full time. And this would just be a way for me to still make some money, have some type of routine in that way. But yeah, fingers crossed, tightly crossed.
Fingers crossed for you. I hope you get it. Um, I I just celebrated my 10-year friendship anniversary with my friend Jake, and
Oh,
we went to one of our favorite Chinese restaurants that's local, and he brought all of our yearbooks from our high school, and we went
I
through
love
them
that.
together, and so I always made it a point to be the first person that wrote in, or at least I tried to be the first person that wrote in his yearbook, and I had to write the longest like page or
Right.
two. And I read what I wrote freshman year, and oh my god, the cringe. The cringe. It was terrible. Like, do you remember when on Facebook when you could poke people?
uh,
Yes, I like
yeah.
wrote asterisk pokes you asterisk, and I actually like I was writing this as like I was sitting next to him. I'm like, this is so cringe. I was using like the XD face,
I
and
know, I was just about to say you were using those like before emojis were a
yes,
thing. You were using
yeah. So, and then to date this even more, I wrote it the whole passage like a truth is status thing.
that you like on Facebook.
Yeah, so if I mean, I'm sure everyone in our age group knows what the truth is, but like it was just you would make a status on Facebook saying like my status for a truth is, and then write like a paragraph about a person, but no one does that anymore, at least I don't think.
I know. And then the
And
ones where you like them and it's like don't know you. So it's like truth is, we don't really talk much, but we should change that.
oh my God, yeah. But
uh,
this thing was so long and so cringe, but it was just so nice to relive those memories, and
yeah.
I'm like, dang, dude, you've been dealing with me for 10 years. You've seen me through so many phases in my life. And he's someone that I like really respect everything that he says to me because he's so thoughtful. And I feel like probably knows me the best out of everyone. And
Hmm.
he was just telling me like how giving me a lot of like affirmation, and he's not really like the sentimental type, at least openly most of the time. And so he was just telling me like that he was proud of me and like happy that me and I were doing the podcast. And he actually went to elementary school with you, and he was like, it is
Yeah.
so weird to learn about
Yeah.
Morgan. And I was like, yeah, like but it was just really nice, and that was my little moment.
You guys are for lifers.
We are for lifers. So when we were discussing topics for our next episode, I was like, we're halfway through the year, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we only got 5 months left, bro. Like
Uh,
that's insane. And I have I started going back to my work office and I was cleaning it out and I found my 2019 to 2020 planner. And I was just going through it and I was like, wow, I was busy. I was doing things and I was reading all my like
Right.
resolutions and stuff. And I'm like, wait, let me dust off my 2021 planner that I thought I was really going to be using and read what I wrote. And I bought a planner from an influencer. She's on YouTube and Instagram under Jordan Shrinks. She is someone that has lost over 100 pounds. Amazing, love her to death. Well, she has a brand called Inspira, and so I bought one of her journals. It's so cute. I wish I could like post a photo of it, but this is audio only. I'll make sure to share it on our Instagram and link it. But she made these beautiful planners and they're kind of like self-help and everything too. And in the first few pages, she writes like what your inspirations, your aspirations are, your plans of actions, your mental health and self-love goals, think your gratitude list, different things. And I did fill that out at the beginning of the year, but going into the next month, it was like reflect on the last 6 months. So I thought it'd be fun if we talked about our New Year's resolutions, where we are with them, have we done them, and what we're planning to
Gosh.
do for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah, let's reflect, shall we? I didn't even realize that we were like past our 6 month mark.
I know that's freaking. Oh, that's crazy. I
I
can't
know.
believe it. My God, I feel like it was like I don't know. Like time has just passed for me in like a different level because like I got COVID. I'm pretty sure I got infected on New Year's Day. And so like time just feels so like different for me because of like
Yeah,
so many things happened. Like I feel like I've lived an entire lifetime in this past 6 months. So
I feel you 100%. That's why I'm like, I have no real perception of time. Like the fact that it's been a whole year since I've lived in Germany already is so weird. That's just so crazy to me that it's already been an entire year because so many things have just happened right after the other that I'm like, I can't keep up.
you know, someone I wrote to a podcast one time and I was venting about something that had happened to me and I was super upset and I was asking them like I know that what I'm writing in about and upset about is a small thing but it just feels so big right now
Mhm.
and like I know in like 20 years it's not going to matter and they made this like analogy where they were like your life right now because I think I was like 15, 16 at the time. They were like your life right now is like one big cake that is cut into like 16 slices and
Mhm.
they were like 35 at the time and they're like we have 35 slices now. It's like getting so thin that time passes by so quickly
Mhm.
and it's just like hard to keep up like at this point. Like basically what they were trying to get at is the younger you are everything feels so big and slow because
Yeah.
it's all you know. But once you live like this adult life, it's so fast paced and you don't have time to dwell on things the way that you did when you were a kid. So
Right.
yeah, can't believe it. But um I wanted just to get into it. Did you have like a big goal for this year?
Okay, yes. So Rain and I, we were sitting outside and we were writing like our resolutions. We had written down like it was like 5 goals that we wanted to achieve, and then we had like it was like things we wanted to like achieve internally. Like there were so many different things that we had written down, and I put mine in a jar because I wanted to pull them and open them at the end of the year. Like I was trying to be cute or whatever, but I lost the jar and I have no idea. Like I was trying to look for it today. I have no idea where it's at. But one goal that I did have in mind that I really wanted was I wanted to do something creative this year. And I would like to say that this podcast is very creative.
I agree.
And we're doing it. So honestly, the fact that I was able to do one of like just one of whatever my resolutions were, is more than enough for me, because I know I had a lot of smaller ones that were like milestones when getting back to like my normal self, and a lot of it was like fitness wise and mentally, like I there was a lot of like things that I wanted to get through in this year and learn about myself. I just don't remember exactly what I wrote down.
Well, I hope you're able to find that jar at least by the end of the year
I
so that you
know.
and Rain can go ahead and reflect on them. This year for me, I was really like writing everything down. I was like, I'm gonna get into manifestation. I have like a whiteboard in my closet somewhere that's hidden that has like stuff written on it, and I wrote like 50 things about like I was like trying to manifest for my friends, for like everything. Actually, I may be able to. I think I actually have that somewhere on my desk. I can go through them. Um,
Ooh.
but so my biggest goal this year was to get comfortable with the idea of being alone and the fact that I may never have a life partner.
The Oh my gosh, the universe said, pass.
Yeah. So the big reason I even thought of something like that is because I was constantly just like so when I would talk to one of my friends, I would constantly send them like memes and TikToks about being like forever alone, not feeling like anyone was like at my standards, and just being like unhappy with like the offers I've gotten for relationships. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten very like jaded where like I don't want to go through the talking stages, and I
Mhm.
see through things so quickly. And like for me, I will get into a talking stage and then I can project like I can see exactly what this is going to be like after like talking to them for 30 minutes. Like I can
Mhm.
kind of see their intentions and like do our ambitions match up? If they don't, like I'm just not into it. And
Right.
I was doing this so much that it was like overwhelming me. And my friend was like, so this friend that was talking to me about it, they've never had a boyfriend and they're a virgin, and like they don't put much emphasis on being in a relationship. I think they're perfectly happy, at least I believe so, are perfectly happy on their own. And
Mhm.
they were like, why don't you try doing that? Like, why don't you make it your mindset that you don't need dating apps? Like, you should, put yourself first in everything and just like live your life intentionally without thinking, oh, like, I can't do this because what if I get a partner, or I can't get this job because what if eventually I have a partner? Like, stop not doing things because of potential for other relationships that haven't even happened yet. And I was
Right.
like, okay, good point. So that was my thought. And I was like, you know what? I have really good friends. And honestly, sexually, it's very easy to get some booty when you're a woman. Um yeah, so I have great friends. Like, oh, okay, side note. I love when guys are like, I'm just looking for friends. And you know what I always told them, like straight up? I'm like, motherfucker, I have enough fucking friends and they are better than you and far more fulfilling. So like if you're like just say you want to fuck. Like that's it. Like let's not like dangle this whole like acting like my boyfriend but I only want to be friends thing. I have good friends.
Yeah.
I don't need another friend. And if I'll just be transparent. So, yeah, anyways, so I had this whole plan of action and it was doing more self-love, manifesting things that don't include a man or a woman because I am bisexual, and to set my expectations for people, um not necessarily lower, but just to like, I don't need, like, I need to realize that people aren't perfect.
Hmm.
So, like, I think
A more
another thing,
realistic
yeah,
expectation.
yeah, I needed to have more realistic expectations. And I was like writing down what my expected challenges were, which were getting lonely and, being tempted to like go on dating apps, everything.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so that actually did happen. I did get tempted and I fell into it, but I justified it by saying, okay, well, I'm actively just going to try to date girls and like go from there. But Tinder for girls is very dry, and once you and a girl like compliment each other and call each other pretty, it's like nothing happens after that for the most part.
Right.
And so one night I just decided to make the option for guys to pop up, and then that happened, and that's history.
That's
Um,
history.
yeah, it was like seriously, like I in my mind I was like I want to like for the past like couple of years, like so I've had like situationships, like some like short-lived relationships that I won't even like call them my boyfriend or anything over the last couple of years, but they never worked out. So I was talking to people, so like I don't want to give the impression that I was like lonely, like cobweb type shit. But I was legit like I want a romantic relationship. I want this so bad for the last like 3-ish years. And then the second I'm like, no, no more.
Yeah.
It just pops up. And I'm
Yep.
like, what the hell? So so that
It happens all the time. It happens with so many things too. It's whenever you're like least expecting it to happen. You know what I mean? Suddenly you set some like limits for yourself and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. And it's like, or not. Or let me place this perfect person right here in front of you that's got all these like similar interests and is nice. And let's sprinkle like him being a gentleman and funny, you know what I mean? And having a good relationship with his parents. Let's put all that in there too. And let's see how you handle
right. I was like, and so with that, I'll end this goal soon. So because I knew I wanted to be single, in my mind I was like, okay, like let me go on this date. But in the back of my head, I was like, you want to be single. So I kind of did a little bit of self-sabotaging and I was like looking for things, but there were so many green flags that I was just like,
it.
oh shit. Okay, like I might as well just see where this goes, and then yeah. So that happened. But I did have other goals regarding like mental health. You said you had some about mental health too, though, right? Like just like
Yeah.
personal fitness. What was that like for you?
Yeah. So one of my goals that I did have, or like a resolution, was I had a lot of barriers after my diagnosis and after, having the flare that I had. I was scared to go for a run because I was scared I was going to get a flare. I was scared to go to the gym because I was scared I was going to get a flare because I had gotten my flare the weekend, like right after I had went to the gym. The next like day I had gotten my flare. So a lot of things that I really liked to do, like running, working out, riding bikes, any type of active activity, I was scared to do it because I did not want to be back in that spot. And it was just really close to when all that had happened. And I didn't have a lot of answers as to what I needed to do in that sense. My specialist told me that exercising is very important, especially for people with MS, but it was just really scary to do. So I set resolutions for myself to kind of break down those barriers and slowly get myself back into exercising, going for a run. I actually ended up going for a run right after the new year, with rain, and it was just 15 minutes, and it was great. My legs were tingling, and that was a little, it was like a little vibrating thing. And so I was worried because I was like, what's going on? But everything was fine. And after that had happened, I was the barrier was gone, and it was a lot easier to like get myself up to do those things.
So when you mentioned the tingling, I don't know exactly how it feels for you, but when you have your flares, are you in pain or is it like you can't feel your body in a sense or you lose sensation?
It's a little bit of both. So the flares can be my basically my doctor let me know that I probably had anywhere between 5 to 10 flares before this big one, but they just weren't like noticeable enough for me to go to the doctor. Regardless, I wasn't going to go to the doctor because I didn't have health insurance until we got here, but I did remember getting a flare back in 2018, which I realized, after this that it was a flare. And I looked it up on WebMD. What was that? Because it was like a sensation down my back when I put my head down. And WebMD told me that it was a sign of MS, and I rebuked it. I was like, no, what you're tripping. That's not no. And
Oh my goodness. So that means that you had symptoms
yeah.
even back then that, oh my God, now I'm like, what am I ignoring? I'm
No.
like, I got, like yesterday I was like, oh, I have a pain in my ankle. And I was like, it's probably nothing. Now I'm like, frick, should I go to the doc? Well, I do need to go to the doctor, but you're inspiring me to go. Go to the doctor, guys. If you're still under your parents' health insurance, if you're under the age of 26 and you're under your parents' health insurance,
Go.
go. Please
Just go.
go. Take
Yeah.
care of
But
yourself.
my dad like does what you just did right now. He'll when I tell him about things like this, he's like, yeah, I got a massage done one time, and he like worked out all of this pressure, and but every time I would walk, I would feel the pressure release, and it just kept happening. And I thought, man, maybe I have MS. And I was like, Dad, if you don't go somewhere. But back to like the original question, when I got the larger flare, it was a combination of both. So everything happened really fast, and I can always go more in depth in a different episode, but everything progressed really fast. And my symptoms were, I couldn't really walk because my feet felt like pins and needles, so that was a pain, so it really hurt to walk. And then my hands also felt like pins and needles. And so I kept my hands closed for a lot of the time. And I think that also contributed to a lot of my losing my mobility in my hands. And I had a tightening, like cinching pain right underneath my boobs and my chest. And so I remember waking up a couple times because I felt like I was suffocating because it was really tight. So stuff like that, the numbness was just really uncomfortable. So that it didn't hurt, but it was really uncomfortable, and it would kind of make me feel a little sick. Like things like taking a shower would be really uncomfortable. Brushing my hair, Rain would do it, but it would just be uncomfy. Getting dressed, having like I wore very loose clothing for 2 months until I started feeling like the numbness going away. But I wore loose clothing because anything like touching on my body was just really uncomfy.
I cannot believe that was happening to you for 2 months.
I was told that it would go away after 2 weeks. And so when 2 weeks was here, and I was feeling the exact same, and then 4 weeks the exact same, and then so on, it just made it even more scary because it made me feel like my flare was abnormal because the steroids didn't, take care of it, and that it was different from what was supposed to happen. So it made it really like scary for me to really want to do any of the things that I liked. But after going to different therapies like physical therapy, occupational therapy, and regular therapy, I learned a lot about energy conservation, about how to get past these mental blocks, and certain exercises and massages to do to help loosen up my muscles and my joints. Um, and yeah, that really helped me get back into fitness. I started with just body movements and really just trying to reintroduce these movements to myself and to like my muscles and everything. And then from that point, I went to um, I had a kettlebell at home and I had some 3-pound dumbbells and I moved up to that. And there was a time I did a workout with it and I instantly like was paying for it right after. So I overworked myself. And so it was a lot of trial and error that I had to do to kind of listen to my body and see like, okay, this is where we stop. And then the next time we go and we do a little bit more. And so it was just like inching each time that I did, work out or do something, it was just a little bit more each time. And after doing that for like a few months, we went to the gym on the base for the first time back in, I think it was April this year. We went to the gym, and that was the first time I got to work out at the gym. Well, I went to the gym like after the 2 months of my flare, and I was a person that I was strong, okay? I'm just gonna say I was able to like deadlift. I think my highest was 205 pounds, and then I was able to squat, I think it was 200. So I was pretty strong. And when I went into the gym after my flare had gone away, I thought that I was gonna be back to normal. I couldn't feel my hands, so when I would be doing any of, like, the machines or using any of the machines, my hands would fall off and I wouldn't realize it, and I could have hurt myself. And then on top of that, I wasn't using any weight. I wasn't strong enough to use any weight. Even with no weight, it felt really heavy on me, and so that was a really, like, big mental block. But fast forward to April, I went back and gave it another shot, and then ever since then, I've just been consistently going, and it's just gotten better. I've gotten, close back to my weight that I left off at, and I don't even think about MS. Like, I'm not, like, thinking about it in a way of being scared. I'm obviously conscious of listening to my body, but I don't think like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a flare." So, that mental block is pretty much gone, which has been really beneficial, and that was one thing that I really wanted to overcome for this new year, was to get back to my old self with the things that I love to do, and I can definitely say that I have done that for myself.
Yeah, and you have previously expressed that your focus was doing what you can to take care of you, like
Mhm.
with like your health and just having like that balance when we kind of went over those was it last episode that we talked about those mental like life lessons? Oh my gosh, where are we in this timeline?
No, that was the 8 lessons we learned too late. That was our 3rd episode.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Time is not real. But yeah, when you were just talking about like that different balance and stuff, so that's cool that like just in this past 6 months, I do feel like you have achieved those. So
Mhm.
kudos to you, props, dude. Um, with my like mental health and like self-love, like physical fitness goals, I wrote down four and I looked at them the other day and I was like, I fucking did them. I did them. I didn't even realize that I had done them. And like I was like, "What?" So, I wrote the four that I wrote down was number 1, this is like my biggest thing was to basically stop letting what my body looks like and how I personally perceive my body, or rather how I think others are going to perceive me, stop me from looking or dressing the way I want.
Mhm.
And like I was basically like trying to battle like my own like sense of like body dysmorphia where like I think things are far more noticeable than they really are. And so I was just like, I basically forced myself to do with some exposure therapy. I know
Hmm.
this sounds very small. I tweeted about it the other day. But this is the first year in like probably 5 years I've worn jeans. And I know that's so simple, but like,
Why is that simple though? That's really important to you. Like that's
yeah.
something that you thought about and was like, wow. And I think that's a really big thing. I don't think that's something pretty simple because it's something that you were struggling with.
Oh my God. I got like misty eyed right now, but I keep saying it's simple to other people. Like it's not simple to me, but to other people, like that's just a part of their normal wardrobe. But for me, it was always
Hmm.
like black leggings or like black like dress pants for work and stuff. And it was like those were two were interchangeable, and I just didn't see the
Hmm.
point in anything else. And because of that, I kind of blame this on like kind of not realizing like that I had become a little bit more unfit is like when you wear leggings and stuff that is like less form fitting, you don't really notice if you gain weight or anything. But like when I put on a pair of jeans that actually fit me, I was like, oh my God, I have a butt. I didn't even freaking like I knew I did, but like I'm like I haven't seen you in a while.
Right. And something that I heard like a while ago was that we are not meant to fit into clothes. Clothes are meant to fit us. And that's something that I struggle with too, because I hoard all of my clothes from years ago. And I hate that, like, I'll try on, like, because summer, so I'm pulling out my shorts, and shorts already make me uncomfy, especially like jean shorts. And I'm putting on some shorts that I had like from maybe a year and a half ago, and they just don't fit like they used to. And I find myself getting really discouraged. But it's like, I'm pretty sure I have birthing hips now. Like, I'm 24. My body's trying to prepare for a baby. She's not getting one anytime soon, but there are so many things with our bodies that change that don't always, like, it's it's not always explained in a way that's scientifically proven. Instead, it's you see it as, oh, I've gained so much weight and that's why these things don't fit me anymore. It's not even always that. Our bodies are always like evolving.
Oh my gosh. So when you said I have like birthing hips now, it instantly made me think of like I've seen like women that are like 25 plus talking about this where they I don't know how much research this has, but I believe it because I feel like I have gone through it and I think you probably have too is a basically like second form of puberty. Like
Hmm.
as you hit like your like early to mid 20s where like your hips get wider, it's harder to lose weight.
Hmm.
You like kind of like I don't know, you just like your body's like prepared to be a mother basically. Uh
Right.
and I'm like we don't talk about this like uh this is kind of like TMI, but like hair grows in places that it didn't used to grow before. I remember you I and like a few of your other friends when you came here in Arizona from Germany, we were all bonding about how we have hair in places we didn't have before, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, you guys have that too?" Like cuz no one talks about this.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's a big thing for me, and also to add on to like the clothes thing, I have never been someone to wear dresses, but I have like three that I kind of like alternate between now. And that's like a big thing for me. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. But real quick, my last three things were um, kind of like being intentional with the things I do in my life and
Hmm.
knowing like my own like self-worth, like knowing that I like that thing that's going around where it's like be that girl every single day and it's like I'm not
Yes.
going to
And
be
it
one sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, yes, I've seen that, and it's so unrealistic, the things that people like when they say that. where it's like, oh, I'm gearing up to be this kind of a girl, and it's showing like 5 a.m. It's like an itinerary of your life every single day, the same thing every single, there's absolutely no way.
Yeah, fuck that. You're never going to be 100% every single day, but I've come to accept that. And I know like, I mean, I do struggle with it sometimes, but I'm like, I am my own version of that girl every single day. And
Hmm.
people are lucky to have some, like, I don't mean this in like a conceited, like narcissistic way, but I would love to be my friend. I would love to be
Right.
my, like, I would love to have me as a girlfriend. Like, I'm that bitch. Like, so just like hyping myself up in
So,
that way. Um, this kind of goes into it too. This was a really big thing for me, was to be less self-deprecating. I hate I hate when people dog on themselves for jokes. Like, it's funny at first, but it's
hmm
deeply rooted in their own
hmm
insecurities. And I used to make jokes at my own expense to, I don't know, like I was like, I know they're thinking it, so let me just make this joke. And
hmm
that's so harmful because you know what? You start believing it, and that
Yep.
language towards yourself is so negative, and that begins to become your reality.
Yeah, you might not think that when you're saying that you're talking to yourself, but you are. And it's important the way that the things that you say to yourself too. It's gonna like really define how you go about your day, how you do things, what you put effort into, what you like think is worth it. And I talk to Rain about that a lot too, because he's an aspiring writer, and he's a great writer in my opinion, but he'll have moments of just like, nobody even likes my writing, or saying just like things like that. And I'm like, why are you saying that to yourself? Like, don't say that to yourself. You like your writing. That's all that matters. You're writing for yourself. Don't get into this headspace, because nothing good is coming from that.
Man, I need you as like my hype woman when I'm going through those things too, because I
I'm
definitely.
there. I'm there. You know where I'm at. I'm just a voice memo away.
I love that our form of communication is like 10-minute long voice memos back and forth.
That's why, and it's funny because that's how we got on to starting this podcast, because before it was just sending voice memos to each other every single day, and the conversation would just go in so many different directions. And I think you joked, you were like, we should start a podcast. And I was like, I would definitely start a podcast. Here we
Yeah,
are.
someone, I think I talked about this, but someone had asked me on Twitter, they were like, "Do you want to start a podcast?" And I was like, I mean, I don't really know you that well, and we haven't talked in like 7 years, so I don't know about that. And then, like, I was like, you know what? Me and Morgan talk a lot. Let me shoot this idea her way and see. And look at us now. Uh,
Yep.
did
I
you
did.
ever?
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
We're vibing. Okay, go on.
I
I'll
know.
remember what I said. Okay, go on.
Okay, I before we get too far away from it, I you were talking about being intentional as one of your resolutions too, was being more intentional. And that was something that I remembered, was when I was going to therapy, um, my therapist, we were talking about that. And I remember he had said, that I am more intentional with the things that I do. And I really, that resonated with me, because I was always looking at the fact that, oh, because my hands weren't working the way that they used to when I was holding um, a Starbucks coffee, a hot coffee, and walking to the car. I had to look at the coffee while I was walking to the car. I could not take my eyes off the coffee, because if I looked straight, I would drop it, because I would just lose it. I had to fully focus. And so it required me to do things not in a way of multitasking. It like led to me having to do things one at a time, and I looked at it as a negative. And it came up in our session, and he let me know that it sounds like I'm just becoming more intentional with the things that I do, and I'm becoming more what is the word? I'm trying to remember what it was. He said I'm living more like slow paced, basically. I'm taking things slower. It wasn't his exact wording, but that's like the best way I can remember it.
Hmm.
But I when he told me that, it just really resonated with me. But then once I would leave his session and I would try to remember and tell Rain what he said, I would forget it. And that was just another symptom of MS is brain fog. It does affect like your cognitive abilities as well. So I would constantly forget it. And I had to write it in a reminder on my phone, like my one I have. And that's how I started remembering like I'm living intentionally. And I put that as one of my things that I wanted to do as more of like a mental thing was to just live more intentionally in everything that I do and that taking things slow is not a bad thing and I feel so much better within this year. I do it now without even really thinking, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad that I take my time with pretty much everything that I do, and I don't feel bad that I don't multitask as much as I used to because I think I do better in the things that I'm taking my time in, obviously. So that was one thing that I had remembered.
I like that. I've never heard that like slow pace, not multitasking, not having like a million tabs open in your mind sort of thing described as being intentional before
Mhm,
because I've had this conversation with like my partner where he struggles with multitasking and me, I'm like on one like at all times like I when I'm talking, I can like go off in 10 different directions and still remember where I was going while also doing dishes, while also petting my dog at the same time. Like just all these different
mhm,
things. And then like my partner's like, I don't know how you do it. And so I'm definitely going to tell him he just does things more intentionally and he hyper focuses on this thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just being intentional. And I don't know, maybe
mhm.
I should take some notes and be a little bit more slow paced.
Yeah, and that's really like my mindset now is that I'm enjoying the things that I'm doing no matter how small they might be. Like making coffee is so enjoyable to me. I understand now why Rain has like 10 different steps to making his coffee and it takes him so long. He loves to do it and it makes him happy. And mine is not nearly as lengthy as his, but I enjoy it so much and it's such a great start to my day. And then just being able to walk and sit outside and just sit outside and think for a minute and not really have this like thing in the back of my head telling me I have to do a million things. And so it's been a really good shift in the way that I live my life now.
I'm happy for you that your therapist like really like set that on your mind and you made it your own. But
He's the
uh,
bomb.
I hope my next therapist is the bomb. Speaking of therapists, so my last goal was to budget in a therapist, which I did. Having some trouble with that right now, not money wise, but just the whole therapist thing right now. But
Mhm,
it's gonna get back on track. So I wanted to get into like the section of this planner where it like talks about like midway through and then we could just go through these questions and bounce off of them. So all right, so mid-year reflections lightning round. What's your biggest achievement so far this year? If you need
podcast.
podcast, yes. Um mine basically wearing cute clothes, taking steps to improve my mental health by going to therapy and no longer being mean to myself. Yes.
Yes.
What's some positive changes you've made?
I've changed my mindset a lot. I've changed the way that I've talked to myself basically. I don't see my situation as a why me? Why is this happening to me? Why does this always happen to me? I see it as thank goodness this happened when it did. Thank goodness I was able to experience something like this to completely like learn from the experience and also have the opportunity to have that shift in my life because I think
Mhm.
I'm better for it or I'm better after it. So that was, yeah.
Another thing I need to take notes on because when I know this is a terrible habit, but I always say stuff like the universe is against me, and
Mm-hmm.
when it rains it pours on me, and like it's so hard for me not to be negative in that sense, but I know it needs to stop because I'm quite literally manifesting those things. Like I believe it, so it's real.
Right.
But a positive change I have actually made is setting boundaries that have made me more independent. Um, I talked about this in the roommate episode where me and my current roommates, we were doing like cooking, cleaning, shopping together. Just recently stopped doing that. And I think it has benefited our friendships with each other because now it's shifted from we're kind of like brother sister
Mm-hmm.
or almost like in a relationship without any like sexy time to we're best friends again. And that has made me really happy to have that sort of independence. I don't know how they feel about it. I think they're okay with it, but yeah. Um, what's something you're proud of?
Oof. I mean, I'm just proud of like my process, where I'm at in my process, because Morgan, like 10 months ago, would have not thought that I would be like back to not my, I don't want to say my old self, because I don't think I'll ever be back at that, which I don't know if
Mhm.
I would want to, but is where I'm at right now. I genuinely believe that I was going to be like in my situation like that forever, because
Mhm.
it was taking a very long time to go away. And so I'm really proud of, the mindset that I stayed in, and how I was really determined to get better, take the steps to get better. And I had my last occupational therapy session a few weeks ago, and my records, we did tests on my hands and the speed on how I use my hands. And I went from 40 seconds for, I think it was like 39 and 42 seconds for both of my hands. And the average speed for this test is 16 seconds. So my first test was 40 seconds and my last test was 17 seconds. And that was of course over 4 of these tests. So I think I've shown a lot of resilience to my situation. So I'm really proud of how far I've come.
That's awesome. You're almost like at like the perfect like meeting at this point. Oh my gosh. I feel like you've overcome so much with that. Like I see it like on like your Instagram stories, and like I remember when you were going through that, I was like nonstop getting my roommates updates. I'm like, I know y'all don't see this because you don't go on Instagram, but here's a play by play of all of Morgan's progress. Like I was that bitch for a little bit, but
I
um
love it. I was
uh,
also, whenever I was really down, I would like re-go through that highlight, because that's why I started it,
mhm,
was to document all of the good things that happened. I didn't really show a lot of like the harder moments, because I didn't want that. I wanted, when I was in a hard moment, I wanted to go on that highlight, and I wanted to see me in a better mindset, and seeing the progress that I've made, so I can remind myself, no, like I'm not stuck. This, look at how far I've come just in this period of time, and so on. So that's why I didn't really document a lot of like the darker stuff. And I
mhm.
don't think I needed to, but yeah, the highlight definitely helped with my progress too.
That's good. It's always like even with everything, like I was actually just the other day I was recording myself like on the treadmill because I'm trying to do like this treadmill challenge right now, and I'm like I just want to see like what I look like in like a month or two, and
Mhm.
I also don't want to focus so much on like the scale or anything because I
Yep.
know I'm going to get discouraged. So I'm like, let me just take a video and then like transition it really quickly, and I will be able to see it that way, in a way
Hmm.
that is more about like, yeah, girl, you did it. You did the challenge, and not, yeah, you lost this weight. So,
Hmm.
uh pictures, man, document your shit. Like it's so motivating.
Documenting, yeah, that's one thing is I 100% agree with too, is documenting your process and your progress, no matter what it is. Like you can document like the recipes you make, you document, the workouts you do. That was something that really helped keep me going. Back when me and my friends started our fitness page, I took so many progress pictures, and then I really started seeing like I was noticing muscle in certain areas that the one before didn't have muscle, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know I had that back there. Like I'm looking at my back, I'm like, I didn't even know I had that. Progress photos, progress videos, timestamps, workout routines, all of that helped keep me so motivated, and it really helped me see like I was progressing in so many ways. It's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, I love to document things, but I sometimes struggle with the idea that who cares? Like, you're lame. Like, who cares? Like, what you're posting about? But
Mhm.
I just need to remember my 10 followers that actively comment on everything I post, and they're my
Mhm.
hype. They're my hype people, and I'll do it for them. Like, it's fine.
Do it for them. And for,
Do it,
exactly.
yeah, and myself, of course.
Exactly.
Something I am proud of myself for is steering myself more to like an empowered mindset of like,
Mhm.
being that bitch every single day in the way that I can and not self-deprecating. So I'm proud of that. One of the last reflections on this journal was, what is an area you think you can improve? Mine right off the bat is I need to identify my toxic thinking and like pinpoint that and be like, all right, like cut that shit out. Like the universe is against me thing needs to stop. Like I get annoyed at myself when I say it. So I that's something I need to work through with therapy, but yeah,
Yeah.
identifying toxic stuff, like just hearing like how you like talk about things, it's like inspiring me to be less toxic.
It's
um
it's so funny because you talking about, the last one on what something you're proud of is your self-empowerment. That is something I need to work on because I have a really hard time seeing myself as that bitch. I just see myself as an average bitch. I
oh,
see
wait, you don't see yourself as that bitch? I looked at your photo set that you recently posted. I was
uh
gawking over every single picture. I was living for it. Uh, Me and like all of like half of Instagram was like reposting it and we were obsessing over it. I was like, God damn, I want to have a photo shoot like that.
it's honestly the my friend who did them, her name's Maddie. She just made it so comfortable because my default is stare into the camera and smile, and this was not that kind of photo shoot. It was very
Yeah.
documentary, and it was like it was cool. It wasn't just like a pose and smile. It was really cool, and it showed a lot of like different emotions, and it had a lot of things to it, but I was really nervous and it was way out of my comfort zone. And I feel like if I had your mentality of like, I'm I could do this, I'm that bitch, I'll do it. I want to go into life and doing anything like that, especially with being in Germany. Could you imagine if I just had the confidence and I could just go into any place and just confidently like speak the German that I know? I do some days and I feel really good about it when I do, but I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. I just want to be more overall confident in myself. And yeah, like I just want to feel, I know you look different too when you're confident, like it's radiating, you look good, you feel good. I want that. So I'm slowly taking steps to do that by, like you said, wearing what I want to wear and not wearing what I think like looks the best on me, I guess, because I'll put some things on and I'll think like, oh no, this looks a little too weird, or this doesn't fit like the aesthetic that I give, even though it's something that I think is cool. And so doing things like that, and I don't know, just I don't know, I just want to be more confident.
Is that your main focus for the rest of the year?
I would say so because after talking about all of these, I realized like you inspire me because you have that energy about you. Like I can see it. Like I can see like the aura, if that makes sense, through our webcam. Like you have
See.
the confidence and I want it.
Oh my God. I'm like, am I just a good faker or what? Because sometimes, like, I really feel it. Like, you know, when you're just like wearing your best outfit, you just took like a 1 hour long shower and you did your hair nice, it's blow dried, your makeup looks good that day. And I don't know, you got a nice fragrance on and you're really like
Hmm.
on one. Like, I wish I could be like that every single day. Like, no one
Me
would be able to
too.
tell me nothing, but like,
Anything.
I at least like I try to emulate that the best I can every single day, but like, dang, look at us inspiring each other.
I love it. We love to see it.
Love to see it. Love to see people be positive to each other. You know what? Let me try to find that like manifestation thing I wrote earlier in the year. Um, Give me 1 second to find it, and then we can kind of bounce off back and forth with that and kind of wrap things up. And we're back. You probably didn't notice a delay because of editing powers. Anyways, I found my manifestations from the beginning of this year. Morgan did locate the general vicinity of where her New Year's resolutions were, but where are they?
They're in my garage because we moved a bunch of stuff from the winter garden out there. And I know they're out there, but I'm not going outside. You know, Lexus, I told you about the grass mites. I'm not going out there. Um,
I don't blame
and
you.
the Yeah, I'm not dealing with that. And the garage has a bunch of spiders, and I know spiders come alive in the nighttime, so I'm not dealing with it right now.
Damn, damn.
For
You'll
another
you'll
time.
you'll get it eventually, but let me just steamroll through some of these. Some of these are so like corny, but like some of them are like nice. Okay, so there's no right or wrong way to manifest. But some I was like watching videos on like how to manifest, and they were just like write in a notebook things that you want and things that you want to speak into the universe. So here are some of mine. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed, but okay, so it's like, I am a homeowner. My friends and I have beautiful relationships. I have a loving family. My brothers and I heal from our trauma. Morty, my dog, lives a long and healthy life. I give myself breaks from judgment. I'm no longer allergic to cats. Okay, that's just not working anytime soon. Um, I shower every single day. I know that sounds like I don't want it to sound gross or anything. I'm not a sweaty person, so it's
Yeah.
not gross. Not everyone's meant to shower every single day, but that's okay. Yeah, that's a debate. But when you have depression, that is difficult. And I
Yep.
will say that I have greatly improved in that department.
And
Um,
honestly, too, whenever I was sick as well, I would not get up. I'm pretty sure I was depressed in the like first few weeks of everything.
mhm.
I didn't get up. I think the longest that I went when I was in that, I laid in bed for like 5 days straight
Oh my
before
goodness.
Rain had to like push me like to into like really encourage me into getting up and then like taking a shower because of how uncomfortable it was and how like I just didn't like it. I was exhausted, just all of that. So I get it.
It's insane like how much like your life can be affected by not being able to do a simple thing like that.
Hmm.
And I had this big mental block with it, and you had this physical block. I'm sure mental too, but like it's just insane. Like people just don't even realize like the privilege that they have to be able to just do those things naturally and it be easy.
Hmm.
Um, Continuing is I am a teacher. I am paid well. I bring generational wealth to my future children. I am beautiful. Um, my knowledge expands every day. I am slower to speak and I don't say things carelessly. My partner has good morals. I was kind of like manifesting stuff about like relationships. My partner is kind. My partner maintains our romance. My partner loves our children. My partner is a good parent. My partner is funny. Um, my partner is ambitious. My friends live happy lives. Um, and then I was writing stuff about like my friends that are more personal and stuff.
Oh,
I wrote about one of my friends being able to um, easily go through like their transition process because they're transgender and they're going through that, and just seeing their journey is so happy. And so I was manifesting hard for them at the beginning of this year, and I still am.
mm-hmm.
I have shared their GoFundMe if anyone wants to help out with top surgery. Would really appreciate if people helped out with that.
We can always
Um,
link that too in our Instagram as well.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And then I ended it with I love myself. I am loved. I am not scared. I am not embarrassed. And I am free.
Lexus, these are not corny. These are so beautiful. And I don't know. I wish I did something like this because
Do it now.
I know I need to link the planner. But listening to it, I don't know if it's just me, but that was your past. That was you in the past, and like future you now reading it. Do you have like any feelings? Like how are you feeling reading those?
So I actually dated it too. Let me see when I did it. I wrote that it was actually December 21st, 2020 at 11:40 p.m.
Oh, I love a timestamp.
Timestamps. It does feel weird to like read them back, but I don't know why I had an accent right there, but I do I do feel myself going towards these things, and like I'm not like necessarily a spiritual person, but I do believe in like the power of like mindset,
Mhm,
and like hearing like the last bits where I'm like I love myself, I am loved, like I don't know, maybe kind of like emotional. And
mhm.
like these are things that matter to me so much, and I do feel like probably like 70% of them are already in the works.
Right.
There are some I didn't list because they're more like personal stuff, but I'm putting in the work right now, and
Yeah.
this foundation is laid out and I will see results.
Now, does you said 70% is in the works. Does that surprise you, or is that something like when you wrote these down, was this like a thing that I'm determined to do this, or was it like these are things that I would like to happen?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I I will say like when I was writing these down, I was in a really dark place where I was like nothing I do matters. I'm just going to give up anyway, and like I needed to break myself out of that, and that's why I did like this meditation and wrote all of these things down. Like there's like 50 things here that I wrote down,
Mhm.
and I was like I need to try something to get myself out of this mindset. And I don't know if necessarily I thought it was this or if it really was this or what, but like I these things were rooted in my mind, and I didn't realize I was doing them. They kind of just became natural. Like I said earlier, when I looked back on my goals and I realized I had achieved them, I didn't even think about them. They just happened because I made small changes, and I am like proud of myself for that. And
Mhm. It's kind of interesting. We have so many things that we want in our head that it's just all over the place, right?
mhm.
And I think there's a lot to be said about whenever you write something down and you're writing it out and you're kind of like, in a way, speaking it into existence. It's at the forefront of your head, of like, of your in your mind as well, too. So I think that has a lot to do is you found the things that you wanted to do, that you wanted to prioritize, and it was at the forefront of your mind. And so maybe subconsciously you just had these things right there on your mind. And so you might not have realized that you were setting these steps, like putting these steps into place to achieve these things. And then reading it, like reading it back, like, I don't know, it just kind of makes me think like we were you're silently doing this all along. And I think writing these things down is super important because you're collecting all of the things that are like that matter to you and that you're really wanting to achieve, then having it just up in your mind, like you said, these are things you've wanted for so long that you've kind of just wanted, but imagine how many other things are just up there that you're wanting to, and there's no way to like put any structure up there, and unless you're writing it down, or like you have a visual of this is what you want to do, like vision boards and everything like that, if that makes any sense.
That made perfect sense. I feel like you took the words out of my mouth because that just inspires me to write even more. So now that we're halfway through the year, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I think you should too.
Yeah,
Just like, and then revisit it in like 6 months, and then if I hope we're still doing the podcast, we can go
of
back
course.
and check it out and see where we are with everything. But um this is a long one. So I think this should end our session for today. Let us know what you're like. Maybe I do want to make it like interactive and have people like comment like their mid-year reflections and
Hmm.
like some of the things they've manifested and what their life has been like the past 6 months, because so many things are happening. We're still kind of in a pandemic. Like
Hmm.
most of us are in our mid 20s, early 30s. Like we're going through a lot right now. There's so many different transitions. Like I
Yeah.
feel we have a new president, like global warming, like all these different things going on. So
Hmm.
it's nice to be able to reflect with someone.
Yeah, and also share your secrets, because what are you doing that's helping you like stay on top of your resolution or the things that you're wanting in life that you set a plan for? What's the plan? Because I'm open, I'm all ears.
Right. Tell us how you're being that bitch, that girl every single day, because
Please.
I need help. All right.
You need help, I need help.
All right. Go ahead and follow us on our Instagram, Switching the Narrative. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, also called Switching the Narrative. Leave reviews. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you want to hear. Do you have anything else to add?
I think that pretty much sums it up. That's all the time we have in our session today.
All right. I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.